What a beautiful day it is here on Saturday, October the 27th. It's an incredible day to celebrate your life, to celebrate your life here with NHT Global. I'm going to do my best here today to really impact all of you that are watching it live here today and here in the future. Get to your heart and get to your understanding that God does not make junk, that you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to. So before I get started, just a couple of updates. In a couple of weeks now, I will be in Sweden, and actually in Gothenburg, Sweden, on an event that we're doing on November the 10th, Saturday, November the 10th. I'll be coming in a few days earlier. On the Thursday night, we'll have a business presentation. So you have anybody in Gothenburg or in the surrounding, Sweden is not a big country. So and from most places in Sweden and through the Nordic countries, you can drive to Gothenburg. It's basically almost in the middle of Sweden. So if you have anybody in that area, one of the great advantages, as I've shared over and over again here with NHT Global, doesn't matter where you want to build around the world. You don't have to have the skills or expertise or knowledge to build in new markets. We've done it all for you. So, go through your teams, start to understand where we're having events. With regards to Sweden, November the 10th. The next day, I will be in Dublin, Ireland, and we'll be there for a few days. So if you have anybody in Dublin, the event's going to be on November the 11th. Again, just work through your teams. Find out who you know, who they know in these markets, and certainly invite them. And I can definitely help with your prospects and your guests there. December the 1st, I'll also be in Mexico City, Mexico. So if you have any contacts in Mexico City, Mexico is an incredible market, a massive market. Start going through your teams again. Find out who you know in Mexico, in the west coast of Mexico. I will be there on the December the 1st. We had an incredible event when I was there in August. We are expecting 400 to 500 people for the event in Mexico City. So great things are happening with NHT. NHT just announced their third quarter results. As you know, one of the great aspects to NHT for our prospects, for our distributors, in helping with the belief is that NHT is totally 150% transparent. No need to hype. It's all there for everybody to see. So we had a 17% growth over third quarter of last year. So that's incredible. We're on another run. Great things are happening as we're launching into more markets. As you probably aware, I've announced it a few times already, and NHT has too. We'll be launching in Asia with regards to Vietnam. Looks like Vietnam will be one of the first markets out of the 4 that I'll be sharing with you that are launching. Thailand, Indonesia, and then eventually India. I know we got the great Loris who lives in Riga. He's going actually into India here in a couple of weeks. So congratulations, Loris. Only way to grow is just to go in and do it. So he'll be having meetings in several different cities in India as we pioneer that great country of India. So today I wanted to really focus on how to get to Global Ambassador, how to become a 6-figure income earner in NHT. I personally, Dan Cattle, many of our other leaders have done some incredible trainings on steamteam.ca. And I wanted to just cover a couple of things that I've learned or I've researched recently on learning and how the brain works with regards to learning. You know that when you learn something new, your neural pathways actually double within that moment. When you learn something new, this is the brain's way of coping and understanding and developing. But if you don't repeat that learning in that topic, a week later, you actually lose 60% of it. And a week later, again, you lose another 30 to 40%. So after a couple of weeks, what you've learned basically disappears. So the key to learning is through repetition. You can actually change your brain science, your brain development, your learning development by repetition. Repetition's a mother skill. So it's real important when you read a book that resonates with you, or you watch a training like today that resonates with you, it is key to consistently repeat it and watch it over and over and over again. Many of you have heard my story where when I got started in this industry, as my mentor shared with me, what you feed your mind is what comes out, and what you focus on is what comes out in your life. So I started on a personal development journey. I knew I needed to develop my skill sets. So after about 9 years, you should have seen my library, hundreds and hundreds of books. I used to go to the library and take out the little tapes, cassette tapes, that ages me. And I would duplicate those cassette tapes at home, and I would listen to it over and over and over again in my car. And I went over all these personal development seminars. And what had happened about 9 years later, I started realizing I wasn't growing as fast as I wanted to. And this brings me back to how the brain learns. So what I started to do is when I read something or read a book or listened to an incredible seminar, that resonated with me, my internal guidance system, Joe, you got to stick with this. So what I did is I went ahead and mastered it. I repeated the listening. I repeated the reading. So over a period of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, over and over again, I created this skill set of repetition. And my business grew because I grew. So this is just a little, this research that I just read really validates what I did, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where I just started to repeat things over and over again. And my neural pathways started to grow faster, and I started studying the material rather than just reading. Because what happens over time is you start to get numb to the information, because a lot of self-help books are specifically in a certain topic. You just read it, but you're not internalizing it. By repetition, you get better. So starting off this training is real critical. If you want to grow, develop, get to the next level, because gets to the next level. The money that you will make will be based on how hard you work on yourself and your development of your skill sets, how you grow your conscious level. So I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago. I'm consistently learning by repetition. And this science just recently that I read just validates everything from my experience over the years and how people have grown and those people that have stayed the same. So keep that always in mind. Repetition is the mother of skill. For example, for those of you who have more than 2 or 3 or 4 kids, after their 3rd or 4th or 5th kid, through repetition, your parenting becomes better, hopefully, as your conscious level grows. It's the same thing in this business. Is the more you do it. So for example, when I got started at NHT, a lot of you know how, I was contacting 3 new people a day. By the end of the day, over 900. Did I get great at prospecting? Of course I did. Was I better after 900 people compared to the first 100? Yes. Through repetition, I started recognizing people's personality traits, how to bypass the sales filter, how to get to people's values, how to connect with people, even if I had no connection with them, how to do that within the first 5 minutes. That's through repetition. So today's training is all on your daily method of operation, how to rank advance through your daily method of operation. So one of my greatest skill sets is creating a daily method of operation many, many years ago that I don't even think about it anymore. I'm doing it every single day. Yes, is it monotonous? Yes, but it's gotten me results. That is the clue. Results is what we get paid on. So let me, before I get into this, let me share with you a little story. If I can advance the slide here. Just give me a second. There you go. So I'm in Lake Como, 2008, and I always like to start off with some stories. You know, I've been blessed to travel to nearly 60 countries here with my family through NHT. It's been a great blessing. This is how I've learned and become who I have become. And I'm in this meeting in Lake Como. Lake Como is in northeast Italy on the Switzerland border. You know, the actor George Clooney has a chalet there. Beautiful, beautiful part of Italy. So I'm doing this meeting. And one of the things over the years is that I've passed on $20 euros or US dollar bills to kids that, you know, parents bring their kids to an event, you know, and I've got a great affinity for kids. I just love hanging out with kids, you know, just their energy. I'm a big kid myself. So I passed on a $20 bill to this beautiful young lady. I think she was around 9 years old at the time, with her parents. And she came there with her father. Excuse me, guys. I should turn this off completely. So here I am with this little girl, and we're having a communication. I passed on a $20 bill. So early last year, I was connecting through a flight out of Rome, and I'm going to the gate, and I hear my name, Joe, which is not unusual in Italy because a lot of people are named Joe. And I turn around and I lock eyes with this beautiful young lady, and she's coming towards me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, where is this person from? You know, haven't met her. What's her name? You know, I've met hundreds of thousands of people. So going through my mind, and she comes up to me and really hugs me. And we separate, and she ends up telling me a story, half English, half Italian, where in this meeting, she came with her father in Lake Como, and I gave her a $20 bill, and she stayed for the training. And the training was on building for your dreams, focusing on your dreams, finding out what you want in life. And that impacted her so much, just my generosity and what I did, but the training. And she went on and on and on how it changed her life, I impacted her life. And you know, she remembered all those years later, and she was now a top model in Italy. And I thought that was a blessing, because sometimes as leaders, sometimes as business people in our business, we forget the kind of impact that we can have on people. No matter what the training is, maybe it was a one-on-one, maybe it was some advice you gave to someone that impacted their life. So this is how great our business is. This is how great our business is when we focus on this part of the business, when we give value. And she made my day. You know, we laughed a little, and she went on. I went to get my flight, and it was, you know, just a $20 bill, how it impacted a person, you know, 10 years later. You know, great day. And it really got me back to thinking about the basics of the business and what's really important to growing the business, and why I'm getting into this part of the training is helping you all understand what you need to do daily not just on your mindset, but how to get to the next step. So let me see if I can move these slides again. I'm having some issues, but there you go. So why is everything to do with where you're going in life? And a lot of you have seen my trainings and watched my trainings over the years. And I always start with this, because this is the secret to life. It's the absolutely 150% secret to life. If you don't have a destination in your business and your life, it's like walking or running up a hill with boulders on your shoulders. And every time you take a step, another boulder will be added to your shoulders. So you'll never reach the top if you don't have a destination in life. This is how things work in life. You know, just going back to quantum physics, which is the science of how everything works and how everything works in this universe. So if your dream is a red Corvette, you want this beautiful 1967 red Corvette, and you're focused on this with a lot of feelings, what will happen is these biatomic particles are just made up of everything that is on this earth. We're made up of the same thing, biatomic particles. This is how things become stuff. And they have recently found in the last 10 years that these biatomic particles have a thinking substance behind it. So as you think about this Corvette with a lot of energy, you've probably already driven one and sat in the car and sat on the leather and driven one. That feeling starts to come out. So in a parallel universe, what happens in quantum physics, these biatomic particles start to form. And this car starts to form in this parallel universe, and it'll become your universe when through a gestation period, provided you stay focused on this dream. This is how things work. So unfortunately, most people in our business, most people that'll be watching this training, even 5 years from now, will still not have their dream down pat. It's amazing to me how many times I've gone around the world. You know, distributors have been around 4, 5, 6, 7 years. When I ask them the question, what is your dream? They stutter. They stop. They don't blurt it out right away because they don't have it down. I know, and that's why I know they're struggling in the business for the most part. It's the number one reason people struggle in life and in this business is because they don't have a why. But when you fall in love with your dream, these biatomic particles start to form very quickly. And the work starts to become easier. And you will become unstoppable. You know, I look at Dan Catto. You know, when I first Dan, he had this in his planner, in the front of his planner was a dream home because he wanted to spend the winters in a hot place, you know, and in the summers back home in Toronto. And Dan was able to accomplish that dream. He spends his winters in Florida, right on the beach in the Palm Springs area, down in Florida, in southeastern Florida. And he's been doing that since 2002 because he fell in love with that dream. Those biatomic particles started to form for him because he was working it. He focused it on it every day. He had it on the front of his planner, and he was able to accomplish that. So keeping this in mind, guys, I want to reiterate, repetition is the mother of skill. If your programming is so deep, and recently there was a training that I listened to by Bruce Lipton. He's an incredible doctor. He was one of the first in this area of our beliefs changed our DNA, and he was sharing a story of how our beliefs can be changed over time. You know, in the 80s, he thought that brain damage, if someone had brain damage, the brain could not repair itself. But they've actually now proven, and Bruce Lipton has done a lot of research in this area and in his lab work. They have actually proven that through repetition, through a belief, you have a belief which comes from a dream that you can do something, the brain will develop the neural pathways, even if it's brain damage, to get you what you want. Those are the quantum biparticles. It's incredible. So if you get anything from this training today, you get anything from this training today, is you need to have this why. If your programming is so deep that you don't think you deserve your why, you can't come up with a why, start writing down what you don't want in life. I asked someone the other day what their dream was, and for 20 minutes she went on and told me everything that she didn't want. And I asked her, that's not what I asked her. I asked her what she wanted in life. What was her dream? And it has to be very specific. For these quantum biparticles to form, it has to be completely specific. If it's not specific, it's not going to work. If it's not specific, it's not going to work. So it's critical as we move forward to focus on what your dream is. And then if you want to learn how my manifestation system, let's go to first 90 days on Steam Team. And you can watch that training. You can also go on whyjoegarcia.com and under Manifest Your Training, Manifest Your Destiny. And I'll walk you through a daily method of operation on attaining your goals and your dreams. Let me just, guys, just having issues with the slides here, moving forward. So let's now focus on money-making activities. So part of being an entrepreneur, especially in our business, most of you are starting part-time. For the leaders out there, most of our leaders, most of our distributors are starting part-time. So we want to make their business, their life very effective by managing their time. So what I would recommend, those of you who are building a business part-time, even full-time, is you schedule your week Sunday to Sunday. Okay, so when I started in the industry, as I had a growing family, it was real important for me to spend time with my kids, balance my time. I usually was the kind of person that really, in my life up until that time, did things on a whim. But I knew in order for me to get the results that I wanted in life, I needed to manage my time very effectively. So what you want to do is you want to treat NHT like a part-time job if you're doing this business part-time. So if you have 1 hour Wednesday afternoon, mark that down. You have 2 hours Monday night, mark that down. You want 2 hours with your family Monday afternoon, mark that down. So when you develop your schedule, you are specifically focused on your priorities on life. And when it comes to NHT Global, now you're actually focused on your money-making activities, and you're focused when you're going to do those times. What ends up happening though, if you don't write it down and where you're going to work the business this time, distractions in your life will overcome yourself. It will overcome your dream if you don't be careful. If you're not focused on your dream, distractions will come in the way. The other thing that I found over the years, the closer that you get to your dream and your goal, it's like the universe tests you. Let's see if you want it bad enough. And they'll put distractions in your way. And most people succumb to distractions. And distractions are just everyday life challenges. These are the things that happen. But guaranteed, when you fall in love with your dream, all areas of your life will fall in line. Your relationships will get better. Your business will get better. Your personal development will get better. All these areas, and you're going to have less and less distractions. And you'll be able to overcome these distractions. I look over my 20 plus years in this industry, and I look back, and it was just my mindset. If I had a distraction, it didn't look like at it as a distraction. It was just everyday part of life. I just stayed focused. I needed to stay focused because I knew a distraction could take me out in 90 days, 120 days, and I couldn't afford that. So there's 5 basic money-making activities here at NHT Global. The first one is you need to be your best customer. You're your best customer. As distributors, most of us, for the most part, when they came into NHT Global, they know the power of our health products. They know the power of our beauty products. You know, we're feeling better about ourselves. We're looking good. We're not aging as fast as most people. You need to be your best customer. You know, it's not like going on all the products. I'm on almost all the products. You know, my family and I are, you know, well over $1,500 a month in consuming NHT products. I'm my best customer. The Noni, the Skindulgence, the incredible new Ariel line that I love, a fantastic product line the company just introduced. You know, the new Active line, powerful product. You know, you get on that Active line, which is going global. Just that one product there in the Active line, you're basically feeding your body with every vitamin, every nutrient that you need. It's absolutely phenomenal. So become your best customer. Share the business is the second thing you need to learn how to do. So there's a number of ways that we can share the business. And I always recommend, you know, go and use the tools that we have. We have ynht.com. Building for events are another credible tool. You know, starting home-based business presentations in your own area. Work through these presentations. Start a local meeting in your area. You know, that's another event. Webinars that we do that was just on. Rick Harner out of Pennsylvania in the United States did a phenomenal job here before I got on. One-on-ones. You know, one of the things I'm doing now with top leaders or highly, you know, what I would call the 8, 9s, and 10s, entrepreneurs, top entrepreneurs, business owners, et cetera, et cetera. I want to dictate what they see first. So I'm going on Zoom or Skype video and doing a presentation for them, you know, answering all their questions, walking them through the presentation and the products. So, you know, I'm doing that in 30, 35 minutes and you know, with incredible results. So that's another way that we can show the business. You know, getting your upline to come in and help you out with one of those things live if your presentation skills are not there yet. Sharing the product, you know, is a critical part of money-making activities. Sometimes you need to lead with the product before you lead with the business. With some people, particularly with women, I'm constantly leading with the product, specifically the facelift, because I know if I can get that product on these women's faces, they experience these results. Women internalize it and they say, wow, geez, I can make money doing this. So sharing the product, always use the tools, especially when it comes to health products. You know, for example, the Stem Renew, which is a very complicated product to explain. I just get people to watch the formulators trainings on Steam Team, show them the video, get them on to watch the trainings so they can learn what the product can do for them. I'll introduce them to third-party testimonials, you know, to someone that's had incredible results. It's another way that you can share the product on a one-on-one. So always use the tools. Don't become the doctor, because if you become the doctor, and I know we have a lot of distributors that are very educated, they're really in tune with all the details, but if you share that expertise with people, you're not going to be able to duplicate it. Keep it simple. So you're going to sell a lot more product doing that way. Personally growing your skill sets, critical to developing your income in NHT Global. You're not going to grow in rank in NHT. You're not going to go from the first rank to the 9th rank if you don't personally grow your skill sets. You know, every professional athlete knows to get to become a professional athlete, they got to work on their body every single day. They got to practice every single day. You know, if your dream is to become an Olympic athlete, what do? They practice every single day. You know, Michael Phelps, the most awarded gold medal winner of all time. You know, and I read an article recently where at the age of 12, you know, his dream was to become a gold medal winner in the Olympics and become the best of the best at the age of 12. That was his dream. That was incredible. And he went out and at that time, you know, all swimmers were doing 2-a-days in the morning and after school. He decided, because his dream was to become the most, you know, awarded gold medal winner of all time, he decided to do 3 a day. Because in his mind, if I did 3 a day, I'd be ahead of everyone else. I'd learn faster, you know, through repetition. And guess what? Despite his coaches telling me, you're going to burn out, Michael, don't do it, he decided to do it anyways. And he's the most awarded athlete in the Olympics of all time. Just with that one, he got a dream. He knew what his dream was, and he went to work. So the 4 basic skill sets that you need to master. So if I were to go and wake you up at 3 in the morning, I ask you how to meet people and grow your list. How do you do that? Can you come up with an answer? Inviting people. Can you come up with how do you do an invitation so people can see the business and the product? How do you do that? Follow up. What do you need to do to follow up? Do you do it right away? Do you wait for a week, 2 weeks? How to create that urgency? You know, so if I were to go and do a quiz with you right now, would you be able to come up and do these things effectively? These are the 4 basic skill sets for you to duplicate. So in NHT Global with SteamTeam.ca, we've made it easier for you. So you go in first 90 days, go watch my contact inviting training. Master that. Watch it over and over and over again. You'll be an incredible inviter. Teach your people to do that. I go in there and talk about follow-up, how to do a 3-way call. You know, so it's amazing to me again, how many people follow up just with themselves. Using your upline leaders, your coaches, your mentors, sideline, get someone to connect so they can hear another story. Really critical. Meeting people. This is absolutely important, you know, in growing your list and how to work your list. You know, in any business, if you don't know how to grow your database, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to run out of names. So go to my training on SteamTeam.ca under webinars and prospecting. And I got 3 or 4 trainings in there and giving you some tools to grow your list, some ideas that you can grow your list. And then the 5th thing is teach the above. If you get good at building those 4 money-making activities, and the 5th one is teaching people how to do it, you're going to make a lot of money with NHT. You're going to become a global ambassador. And this is where you have to be very anal on a daily basis. You need to get your mindset to the point where, how many people am I teaching? Am I sending people to SteamTeam.ca? Am I making it easier for people to grow? And that brings me to the next. Is when I started tracking my activity, it became easier for me to get the results. I worked the numbers. I worked the law of numbers in my favor. One of the challenges as human beings is we're consistently lying to ourselves. Remember, perception is bigger than reality in lots of areas of our life because we're not tracking what we're doing. You know, the other day I was talking to someone and she was telling me that she was growing. She was growing incredibly well. And I asked her, what is her business plan when it comes to personal development? And she didn't have one. And then I asked her, what makes you feel that you're growing? Yes, she has grown and she's gone on Steam Team, but she doesn't have a plan. and she's not doing an hour a day like I do, and like many of the other leaders. And I asked her what her last book was that she read, and it's been over a year than she read. So we need to track our activity for growth, for development, to get the results that we want to go up in rank advancements. So number one reason, it's easy to get distracted in our lives. And if we're not focused on how to get from A to B, we're going to get distracted. If we're not tracking our results, we're going to get distracted. It gives you a system to keep you on track. It also focuses you on money-making activities. And then it allows you to rank advance easier because you have a system. And it allows you to be accountable to yourself and to your sponsor and your upline. So moving forward, I'm going to share with you a table that I created. I've updated now. It's up on steamteam.ca. That's going to allow you to track your results. You send that over to your upline leaders. If you're prepared to go on the 90-day run, now you're able to track what you're doing. It's amazing to me how people are, this makes me really laugh. It makes me smile. I had a friend of mine who's in another company come to me about a year ago. And, we've been in touch for a long time. He's come down to meet with me. He lives here locally, and he's been involved in the company for about 5 years now. And the funny part is he wanted to, he was getting very distracted. He was very disappointed, and he wasn't moving forward in his business. And one of my philosophies is I never take people off track for the purpose of them coming into NHT Global, because the law of karma, the law of what we sow and what we reap, cause and effect. If we consistently take people off track from other companies and bring them up into our business, it's going to happen to us. So I always leave it up to people, eventually if they're really so disgusted with what they're doing, they don't see a future, whatever, okay, that's fine. So this gentleman came to me and said, Joe, I really want to work with you. And so because of this, this, and this. And I said, well, thank you very much. I'd love to work with you too in the future. But let me ask you a question. In your last 5 years in your business, how many people have you talked to about the business? And he said he didn't know. So red flag, he had no tracking of what he was doing. So you imagine owning a restaurant and putting a pricing of your menu and your alcohol, whatever you're serving, and not having a cost analysis and not having, what your profit margins are. It's crazy. You're going to go bankrupt. You don't know where money's coming from. Why is this business different? It's because it's easy to get in and easy not to do the necessary work because the investment is very little. So we've got to treat this like a multi-million-dollar business that it is, multi-billion-dollar business that it is. So keeping this in mind, I asked him, how many people did he show the product? How many people did show the business? And he said, oh. So then I asked him, guess, give me an estimate. And he said, Joe, about 80 people. So you mean in the 3 to 5 years you're in this business, you talked 80 people? And he said, yes. I said, is there something wrong with that? How do you expect to succeed in any business to have 80 people that you've shown the product or business to? Not even have a tracking. So in his mind, he was now blaming the company for the comp plan, the products, all the things, his upline not helping him and everything else. Because in his mind, he couldn't go to where what the true challenge was the lack of activity. And this is what happens all the time in network marketing is people are not making money because they're not doing the activity. They don't have a destination. They have no dream. And then their mind starts playing with them that their people are not doing anything. And it must be the upline's problem or the compensation plan doesn't work. You should add some more money in the front of the comp plan or in the back of the comp plan, or the company's not going into more markets. That's why I'm not succeeding. So your mind starts to play this goes down this toxic road, and you end up going into a new company and making that decision. And then a year or 2 years down the road, after the excitement wears down, your mind starts to go down then again. And it's just this vicious circle that most people have because they don't have a dream, because they don't have an action plan. So moving forward, there is a time in your NHT business life that you're going to need to, for 90 days, outperform yourself, for 90 days to just go all out massive action and create that consistency after that. This takes your business to the next level. This helps you rank to the next level. I'll give you a good example of this. We have a global ambassador, his name, that was with me in Moscow. And this guy was remarkable. He made global ambassador in 2 years from the time he made a commitment to do this 90-day game plan. And I was asking him, because I've known him for a number of years, and he has been a customer for a long time in NHT. He was already making a couple of $1 million in his own business. He was a trader. Okay, so think about this. He's a trader in the business, making $3 million a year. There's no why, because he's making in terms of the money part. But he came up with a why, because he got some great results with the product, and he ended up coming up with a why. And the next night, and he made a commitment that I'm going to go and run for the next 90 days and explode. And by that time, yes, he had some experience. He knew a little bit about the business. He already had the confidence. And he went on a 90-day action plan. Show the product, show the business, and he started traveling all around his own market. And how did that look like? 2 years later, just think about it. How did that look like? Going out and do massive action. He said that from after those 90 days, he moved up 4 ranks because his people were doing the 90-day action plan. And then after the next 3 months, he moved up another couple of ranks. And then by the end of 2 years, he was able to qualify at the global ambassador position in 2 years. Powerful. And get this, he doesn't have the record. There's another person that has done it in 19 months. Again, experienced person in business, but did this massive action, 90-day massive action plan. And let me share with you what that looks like. Is we get in the habit of doing our business rather than driving our business. And there's a difference, guys. Doing our business, say, well, I'm going to go talk to 1 or 2 people, no action plan together. I'll see how that goes. I'll go to this event. I'll see how that goes. I'll just go and support my team over here. I'll go and travel and help with that. And then leave that market and not follow up, not help them get to the next level. That is, you're doing activity, but you're just doing the business. Driving the business is when you go and create a 90-day action plan. You taproot, meaning you go deep, find who's excited in your business, work with them, drive the business, be in contact with your people every day, ask them what their dream is. For example, next year in August, we're going to have a global convention, our first in a couple of years in Asia. And in 2020, we're going to have one in Las Vegas. So start now planting the seed with your people to get them to this convention in 2019, get them to 2020, get them saving money now so they can go there, because events will take them to the next level. That is driving your business. Spending an hour a day reading and focusing on building your skill sets. That's driving your business. So there is a difference from doing than driving. Be very careful in understanding what that is. So I'll give you a good example of what that meant to me. In 2007, I went on as we were pioneering Europe, and I went out to help Mr. Garth Wright and his team and a couple of other teams that we had in Europe. So I went on a very massive action 9-day trip. I went to 10 different countries in Europe in 9 days. You know, I started in Germany, and that was, I think, one of the first meetings, if not the first meeting I've done with Thomas Knapik, our sixth rank superstar over in the Czech Republic. He started back then, and we're in Hamburg, Germany, doing this event. I started there. I went to Portugal, Hungary, Spain, Italy. And I remember, so what would happen is I would do these trainings, the presentations, we work with the distributors, we'll get them going, get them started. We'd go out to dinner that night, and I'd be back to my hotel room 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I always take the first flight out to get to the next city, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Because if I missed that flight for whatever reason, there was always a second flight that I can get into that city, the next city. So I would do that for 10 days. A couple times in between, I would drive, right? There was a couple where we drove from Hungary all the way down to Slovenia. We drove, or Slovenia into Italy. But again, we woke up real early in the morning, got in the car, you know, maybe got an hour cat nap. Same with me in a plane, an hour cat nap. So I did that for a week, massive action, one right after the other. So I'm flying in on the 9th day, and I'm doing a meeting in San Remo, Italy. I'm doing a meeting in San Remo, Italy. So I fly into Nice, France, which is the nearest airport. Okay, check into my hotel, and my driver's there to pick me up because it's about a 2.5, 3 hour drive down the French coast, Riviera, into Italian, beautiful drive into Italian Riviera. It's like night and day. You go, you know, on the French Riviera, beautiful, opulent, you know, and then you go into the Italian Riviera, which they still have kept the old, you know, you're like in a time warp, you know, Ventimiglia, you know, buildings hundreds and hundreds of years old, going back 500-600 years. It's absolutely incredible, diverse, from French Riviera to Italian Riviera. So I get to the meeting. You know, the meeting starts at 7 o'clock. So prior to that, we're doing all these pre-1-on-1s, 2-on-1s all day long in San Remo. So we get to the meeting. We have an incredible turnout, and it went overtime because we started a little late. Meeting finished at 10 o'clock. After closing, it was about closing people 12:30. You know, we stayed there, and then they wanted to go out to dinner. I'm thinking, okay, I've got to get back to my hotel room, get some hours sleep so I can get on my flight home. So they take me out to dinner. Oh, Joe, stay. You know, I've done this all week. You know, my last day, we have dinner. So I get back in the car and travel up to Nice, and voila, I look at my watch. It's 4:15. My flight's out at 6:30. So I go upstairs. I was hoping to catch 1 hour sleep. And I go upstairs, get my bag. The same receptionist is there. He did a double shift. He said, "Mr. Garcia, you didn't use your room." I go, "I'm sorry, I didn't use my room. I'm just going up to the airport." I get to the airport. I'm the first one to the airport. They let me in. They even let me go through security because I begged them. I was just coming up with a story, so I begged them to get in. So let me go through security. Even the business class lounge wasn't even open. So I go to the gate. And that's the last thing I remember. It's the last thing I remember. And I woke up. I was startled. I woke up. And there was about 100 people around me looking at me. That this business guy is wiped out. He must have been on a drunk binge or whatever. Like, I was totally sprawled on the ground. My carry-on was, I don't know how it got over there. It was like 10 yards away from me. And I looked up at everybody, got up, cleaned myself up, and got on the plane. And it was quite surreal. What had happened, because I pushed my body, massive action, 9 days, just meeting after meeting, people after people. You know, my body was so focused, so focused on where I was going. And voila, as soon as that stopped, my body stopped. You know, I'm not telling you to go and do that. You know, I must have had done a little bit of damage to my body that week. Lack of sleep. I may have slept 4 hours, 5 hours at most of deep sleep that whole week. But it was the drive, that 90-day action plan to get to where we wanted to go, you know, and grow and develop in Europe and all around the world. That's what driving your business is all about. You know, and it brings me back to great memories and experiences. And I've done that. And a few months later, I'm on to the next event, you know, where I went to Vicenza, Italy, you know, on the left side. And then the first time I was in Moscow in September, as we were pioneering that market, we weren't even open in that market. And this was in the Leningrad library on the right side there. 400 or 500 people showed up for that one presentation that I did in Moscow. That is driving your business, ladies and gentlemen, to set yourself up for a global ambassador run. It set us up for life basically here at NHT Global. So my question to you is, your dream, do you want it bad enough? Are you in love with it for you to do something like I did? And I've done many trips like that. Dan Cattle, you know, has done many trips like that. And a lot of people say, oh, Joel, you paid the price. No, I didn't pay any price. And I don't like that word, and paying the price, because it sends a negative connotation that you gotta, you know, your family needs to suffer in any of that. You can manifest anything you want when you fall in love with your dream. It's law. And you can work less. And this is not work, guys. This to me, that week was not work. It was just a lot of fun, meeting new people, getting with people, showing them the dream. When you have that passion, when you fall in love with your dream, incredible things happen. So now let's look at the prospect, the daily activity tracker. And I've got thousands of those the stories that probably one day I'll write a book about it. Get together with Garth, because he's got, and Dan and Thomas and many of our leaders around the globe, you know, and just have a storybook on traveling the globe, building our business. So this activity sheet you can actually get on NHT's Steam Team site under the first 90 days. It's on an Excel spreadsheet. So the weekly activity and the daily activity form, you can just mark your points in there. And what ends up happening is it totals it for you. So you don't have to worry about that. So to get to an 8th and 9th rank, you need to have about 55 points minimum per week on a consistent basis, but particularly on your 90-day run is doing those 55 points. You want a full-time income, you know, 5,000 a month, 7,000 a month, whatever it is for you, 35 points a week. You know, that'll get you to 4th, 5th, 6th rank in our recognition plan. Then you have the part-time income of 500 a month or more, 20 points a week. You know, if you imagine globally, actually in North America, the average bankrupt household only needing an extra $500 a month to prevent them from going bankrupt. So $500 a month, even in the Western world, is a lot of money for a family. Just think about that. You put away $500 a month. You know, one of the things I did back when I was 18, one of my first mentor was a former football player who became a financial planner. And he went out and he said, Joe, at the age of 18, which you are right now, you put away $100 a month. By the time of 40, you're going to have over $500,000 in your account through an investment. I thought, wow, that would be great. He was totally correct. I completely forgot about that account. There was this $100 a month was drawn from my account since I was 18 years old. By the time I was 40, it was well into the $500,000 mark. That's what duplication does when you know you have a plan. So what I've done here, I've broken this action plan to 3. Wow, it's already an hour. So I'm going to be finishing up here. I've broken this down to 3 aspects. So your prospecting activities. So for example, as you read the list here, number 1, total number of daily prospects that you have that you are inviting to take a look. 2 people, 2 points per person. You personally roll a gold or a platinum in NHT, that gives you 10 points. And roll a new distributor. So someone that's a bronze or a silver, give yourself a 3 points. Upgrading a bronze or silver to a gold or platinum gives you 2 points. Number of 3-way calls. Again, these are money-making activities done with your upline. Give yourself a 2 points. So it's helping your distributors focus and helping yourself focus on what you should be doing on a daily and weekly basis. You know, starting a home-based business presentation or a facelift presentation out of your home. Powerful, 5 points there, you know. Showing up personally, 5 points. I'm sorry, 10 points for a home-based business presentation. Getting a prospect to listen or watch NHT.com, which is a prospecting site. Give yourself 2 points. Sponsor Super Saturday. Great part of leadership is starting to build your local area and having a training where an event comes in, like we're doing, like I'm doing in Sweden and Ireland, and Loris is going into India. You know, sponsoring Super Saturday. Show your plan, either in an office, restaurant, hotel, webinar. Give yourself 5 points for doing that because you're actually presenting. You're the tool presenting. Follow up with a prospect, not just your prospect, but one of your distributors' prospects. 2 points. Attending a convention, you know, that'll give you 25 points. It's the #1 tool that we have in our arsenal to keep people in, bring people into the business, and move people along. And regional events, really critical. So for the people in Sweden that are billing towards me, and you have, you know, give yourself 25 points for showing up. You know, personal guests at the regional events. Another great tool, as I said, #1 tool for prospects to look at the bigger picture. So in the next part of the activity plan is your personal development activities. Number of days you're reading a book. Each day you give yourself 2 points. Good audios and videos, you know, when I work out, I'm always on other YouTube, you know, watching these great teachers and listening to them and trying to get an edge. And I've got my playlist on that I'm watching it all the time. So it's real important. So Science of Getting Rich, real incredible program. You know, Esther Hicks is another one that I listen to all the time. Dr. Robert Anthony, Og Bandito. I'm just going over these audios. I've Jim Rohn and Anthony Robbins, hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of times. Repetition is the mother of skill. Training activities. Conducting the most important training that we have in NHT Global is getting started. Real important that you get your people doing that within the first 7 days that they get started. Critical. You don't do that, you're not duplicating. Conducting a training call, get a frontline distributor to rank. Get a frontline distributor to rank. And then retailing activities. Real important that we're moving the product, getting more customers on the product, getting them on auto ship was another thing. It's one of the things that I consistently do with my customers, not just in North America, but globally, where after they take their product, I'm getting them on an auto ship. It's just automatic. So they're getting the product every single month, particularly our consumables that they're consuming every single day. So not just getting them using it just for 1 month, committing them on an auto ship. And it's amazing how many of these people stay on when you're constantly following up with them. So when you're totaling these points and it just keeps you on track to getting to where you want to go, which is these areas and moving up. So that can be these forms can be accessible through first 90 days on steamteam.ca. And it also has the daily tracker, which you add up your own points, and then after a week, you can add them in there. So with keeping this all in mind, guys, I'm ending the presentation. Hope this was very valuable to you. I recommend 150% that you constantly, this resonates with you, watch it over and over again. You know, get this stuff in your mind. As I shared at the beginning of the presentation, when you learn something new and you create a habit, your mind neural pathways in the brain double. But if you don't repeat the process over and over again, a week later, basically everything cancels out. So this presentation, all the other trainings that we have on Steam Team, please watch it over and over again. That's been the secret to my success, secret to learning, secret to developing the proper habits that will get you where you want to go. And please, you know, if you learn anything here today, find what your why is. It takes you the next 6 months to do it. Do it. You know, if you have a hard time because of your programming, as you know, from the time you were in your mother's womb to about the age of 7, your brain was in a hypnotic trance. You're programmed in so many areas with relationships, finances, who you are as a person, what you can accomplish. It was all there, programming. The only way you're going to change the programming, because it's there, it is what it is to grow your consciousness level through repetition. And through repetition. So for example, you use this simple little form to track your business, help your people do the same. And you do this over a period of a month, it just becomes normal to you now. It just becomes normal to you now. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for attending. Again, Mr. Dan Cattle and ourselves are committed to your greatness. We're committed to helping you grow and develop. We're committed to your dream. When you find out that dream, let us know. Let your upline know. Let your leadership know. And don't forget about the events that we're doing around the globe. So whether you're in Africa, I see there's many Africans on, many Europeans, Asians on here, North Americans. You know, start looking at all the events that we have globally. Ask your people, who do you know? Who do you know in these markets? And we can help you grow and develop and get these people on track and help them move up in rank. So God bless you all. Have a great day. Let's have a great 90-day run. Great things are happening. Ciao.